Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, my community. Hello, my online community, my YouTube community, my Facebook community. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. This is today's consciousness conversation. I am Melissa. I am here as an evidential medium and a master instructor with integrated energy therapy, channeling messages for you through my guides to help us in, whatever topic kind of comes up for me. And we're going to send lots of blessings and light and love to Dr. Thomas, who is still fun in the sun on vacation. So hopefully he's enjoying his time to rest and rejuvenate. But today I wanted to bring a conversation about that has to do with, hey, Darlene, hello. That has to do with emotional trauma. I actually was driving in a beautiful kind of scenic, rural, lots of green, like, oh my gosh, like green grass, green trees, like just beautiful, vibrant, healthy growth. And I was really enjoying the drive, and it was sunny out, and the sunroof was open, and the windows were up, so the sunlight was like heating the interior, and it was just, one of those really nice drives, right? And I wasn't in a hurry, so it was all good. But I kind of had this epiphany about like those of us who've gone through emotional trauma, where we have had the weight of whatever the abuse was, whatever the neglect was, um, whatever the addiction was, whatever the depression was, um, whatever the resentment, the betrayal, the abandonment. And for many, many people, it's not just one of those things, right? It's like a configuration of a lot of them. It's like this burning down of who you are on the inside. And when we go through this, it's not because I don't necessarily think it's intentional. Some of it is. Some of the abuse and situations that you go through is intentional, unfortunately. But for many of us, it's been the unintentional, right? It's just been the effect of somebody else's trauma, them not being able to see how they're affecting you, them not being able to see what kind of situation they're putting you in. And I'm talking about family, I'm talking about friends, I'm talking about coworkers, bosses, people in power, parents, bosses. So, hello, board. So this is kind of what I wanted to talk about today, was like this emotional trauma, this stuff that we carry within us that weighs us down. And it doesn't allow us to function as a productive member of society, right? And this can be really devastating and disconcerting when, and this is kind of what was brought to my attention, like somebody who's going through like a physical ailment. It's not a divorce. It's not a layoff. It's not something that is energetic, right? Somebody who's going something through very physically, like you can see they're in distress, right? Whether it's a disease or an accident or a illness. It's a physical thing, right? You can see they physically can't get out of bed. They physically can't walk. They physically can't, do the things that they would need to do to keep themselves safe and stable, go to work on a regular basis, be a productive member of society, right? And everybody kind of comes at them like, let me help you. Let me be there for you. Let me throw you an event. Let me cook you a meal. Let me bring you something, right? I want to help, because they can physically see that you can't function. And it, 90% of the time, it's not anything that you've like been able to control, right? If it's an illness or a disease, or an accident, like you can't control those things, right? But the compassion, the outpouring, like it all shows up. And that's beautiful. And it should. And it should. But what about those who it's not a physical ailment, right? There's been sexual abuse or rape or trauma, or there's been physical abuse that has healed, but that wound is still there, right? That verbal abuse that nobody can see, but man, does it just tick away at your energy and tick away at your self-esteem and tick away at who you are. And these are the things that I think that many of us, and it doesn't even have to be in the spiritual community, right? It can be like anybody who's kind of gone through this where you've been put down or put to the background because you can't get up and go to work every day. You make choices and decisions from that place of the trauma, right? That then puts you in another situation that's not going to work out or another situation that's not going to give you what you need. But nobody gives you compassion for that. They just look at you and think, why can't you get your shit together, right? What is wrong with you? You look able, you look capable, right? You're very intelligent, or you come from a good family, right? But that's not what it's about, right? It's about that part of you that they can't physically see. That energetic part of you or emotional part of you that's been systematically eroded over time. And unfortunately, it may have produced a physical ailment. And it could be, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a professional in the medical field. I'm not a professional, so there's my disclaimer, right? So definitely check the description box for this disclaimer, find a professional. But those autoimmune diseases, nobody can explain, right? That fatigue that nobody can explain, right? It's all of that stuff that is being the result of all of that trauma, of the emotions, of the abuse, of the neglect, but it's that systematic. It's been going on for a long time. And for some of you, it's been like your whole life. So you've been living in this survival mode your whole life. The survival mode of I've got to be the people pleaser. I've got to make sure I do this, that, or the other thing for other people. So I'm safe and stable. But that always feeling like you're not doing enough, or you're not giving enough, or you're not enough. It erodes you. And especially when this is going on year after year after year, or relationship after relationship or after relationship, right? So this is where we have to find the compassion for those that don't understand what it is you've been carrying, may never understand what it is you've been carrying and going through because they haven't had those experiences, right? They haven't been in that abusive situation. They haven't been around those people who didn't value them and only took from them, right? So this is where we have to release and or forgive. You can use whatever word there, right? That expectation that the people around you are going to see or understand what it is that has kept you in this pattern of not being able to be or do what they thought you should be able to be or do. And that can take a minute, that can take a minute to sit down and say to yourself, I love myself for who I am, and what I've been through is very difficult, and it may not be what anybody else can understand. And the people around me who I would want them to see or understand and value what I've been through can't, and that's okay. But I have to leave them where they are in whatever their thought process is, in whatever their vibrational frequency is. And I have to keep working on raising my vibrational frequency away from and out of those prescriptions or ways in which I was interacting with life through the lens of the fear, the grief, the anger, the resentment, the betrayal, the threat, the abandonment, and anything else that you're holding on to. Worthlessness, powerlessness, whatever the lens that you've been coming at life through is what has informed your decision making. And for those that couldn't see, right, with their physical eye, what you were carrying, there may have been a lot of that like accusatory or expectation energy coming at you that no, it wasn't fair, but it was through their lens of how they could see things, how they could experience things. And for the most part, they were being that way because they wanted you to succeed. They wanted you to fulfill your potential. They wanted you to be, right? But they couldn't understand what was holding you down. They couldn't see what was sitting on your shoulders. They couldn't see what was pressing on your collarbone. They couldn't see the weight of that emotional tumor on your heart. They couldn't see that your sympathetic nervous system was going crazy all the time because it was trying to calm you down from the threat or keep you safe and stable of the threat. And so it was constantly churning, and now it doesn't work properly. This is where you have to release and let go of. Forgive those people who couldn't understand, because it's time for you to ascend. It's time for you to continue to raise your vibrational frequency. It's time for you in these energies currently. Things are shifting, and I know you're feeling it. They're shifting so that you can start to see those people, right? The people in your life who couldn't value you, right? Through the lens of the revelation, right? So for some of them, you will have compassion for them because it's not that they were trying to hurt you, but they were just trying to love you in a way of making you be better. And they didn't understand that you had to heal. You had to heal that part or those parts of yourself, right? Those traumas, that baggage. And some of it they incurred. Some of it was from them, but in their unconsciousness, they don't understand that. In their unconsciousness, they just want you to be better because they love you, right? This is what I mean when I say you have to leave people where they are. Because it's not that they're, for the most part, there are going to be those few that are being intentional, right? Those very narcissistic, wanting what they want, right? And that's, a whole separate video series, whole separate blog series. And we will talk about that, in the future. But right now, it's really about the people that authentically wanted you to do well. but they had their own demons, their own weight that they were carrying, right? And so they couldn't be there for you in the way that you needed. But they kept trying to push you to get to a place where you were going to be safe and stable because that would make them feel better. Unfortunately, we can't worry about other people feeling better. We can't worry about other people and where they are. Because as you ascend, as you forgive, as you get into gratitude, as you really start to embrace compassion, right? For some of those people, you're going to be the model. For some of those people, they're going to look at you and be like, I want what he or she has. I want to get to where they are. How their life seems to be flowing. How the people around them are happy. Right? And so for some of you, you're going to help elevate and bring with you the people that had really wanted you to be better, but didn't know how to help you be better, right? And then the people that were manipulating you and psychically attacking you, or all the things they were doing intentionally to keep you down, right? They're going to fall away. Because what's beautiful about this is where you've kind of resonated with people that weren't good for you, as you resonate away from them, right? And you leave them where they are, they can't impact you anymore. They can't touch you anymore because they're still in fear. And now you're up closer to love. You're in gratitude. You're in compassion. You're in power, being empowered. You're in feeling worthy, right? So I really wanted to kind of come on today and explain, what I mean when I say leave people where they are. It's not a bad thing, because they'll move or they won't. But I guess what I wanted you to do is like take the ownership of any of that out of there. No matter who they are in your life, right? Whether they're a parent or a child or a coworker or a best friend or a family member or whoever, right? Everybody is sovereign. Everyone is their own state. And so you just have to be your own spark of divinity, God consciousness, and own that. This was the card I pulled this morning just to get me started. And I thought, wow, I got to share that, because this is the energy that we're in currently, right? Inner discovery, finding sacredness. You are what you seek. I've talked to several people over the years, that are waiting for that person to come in and fix them, or that financial windfall to land in their lap. And I was that person. Waiting for that $5,000 to show up, or that $10,000 to show up, right? I wasn't even, going big. I wasn't going millions. I was just going, I just need this much, right? But I kept waiting. I kept waiting for that phone call that was going to change everything. I was waiting for that phone call that was going to fix everything. I was waiting for that lump of money to land in my lap. No. It's only going to start to shift, and you're only going to start to be able to manifest when you start to change your frequency. So if you're still down here in resentment and anger and you're waiting for something to show up, it can't. You're not in it. You got to get in it. And the only way to do that is to raise your frequency, to get up into your vortex, as Abraham calls it, right? And, I listened to her videos forever, and I was like, what is the vortex? How do I get to the vortex? I was like, I want the vortex. I need the vortex. When you're homeless and your career has been taken from you, or can't say it's been taken from you, but you weren't able to fulfill the goals to be able to keep it. Right. And that was totally, divinely guided, because I wasn't meant to be a high school English teacher. I was meant to be here. But at that time, I didn't know it. Right. So I was doing the blame game, blaming this and blaming that and blaming the institution, blaming all of it, blaming everyone else, when I had everything inside of me that I needed to change my situation. All I had to do was tap in. That's all I had to do. That's how I got into the vortex, right? I finally figured out what the vortex was, right? It was raising my frequency to get into it because I wasn't going to be able to get into it from here, from the fear and the powerlessness and the unworthiness and the resentment and the anger. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, the resentment and the anger, like I didn't even know I was holding on to that. That was so deeply suppressed. That didn't come out until I was doing IET sessions. And it was like, oh, what was that? And that was the energy being pulled out of the resentment on the divine feminine side. Yeah, it literally felt like she pulled a knife out of between my ribs. It was that uncomfortable. And I was like, oh, holy cow. Didn't even know I was holding on to it. Because some of this stuff is so deeply suppressed because you were such in survival mode, right? I couldn't feel resentment. There was no way I could express resentment or anger. That was going to get me a knock across the face. Yeah. Couldn't express myself. Wasn't allowed. Nope. Do what you're told. Take it. Keep taking it, right? So in this energy, this inner discovery is you discovering your power, discovering maybe what's holding you back so that you can release it. You can forgive it, right? I just want to read. And I might have done this on the daily card today, but I'm going to do it here too. You have been on a great quest, seeking, searching, discovering, and I would even say healing. But the further you've gone, the more your heart has called you back. You may still be looking for treasure, but you are now discovering that all roads lead back to you. Because if you think about it, every time you've tried to do something that was going to be over the top or it just didn't work out because that wasn't your road. You needed to go within, right? But you are now discovering, okay, the great source of creation holds up a shiny mirror in front of you and you see your reflection. You are the answer. You are the divine, that spark of divinity that is right in there. You are created and you are creating. The gateway of your divinity has opened up and the vessel of your being is flowing with infinite light. You have been searching for God and God is within, so go within. This is the key to heaven. Your cup is overflowing. Your gifts are being unlocked. That's the vortex, right? Your cup is overflowing and your gifts are being unlocked. But if you don't get up there, you're not going to be able to receive it. Let the world share your treasure. Yeah, it's time. It's tough for your cup to be overflowing, but it can only get there if you are understanding where that sacredness comes from, that you are that which is sacred. You can manifest that money plopping in your lap. And I did. I actually manifested enough to buy a home. Small, it was a, single white trailer, but it got me out of my homelessness, right? And I manifested it because I was forgiving. I was getting into gratitude. I was raising my frequency. So you can get there. You can get here. But you have to stop looking outside of yourself, waiting for that boss to notice you and give you the promotion, or waiting for that person to give you your inheritance, or waiting for whatever you're waiting for, the lottery to pull your numbers, right? Or that person to turn around and say, hey, how can I help you? And they're not going to because they can't. They are where they are. But through your compassion and through your getting into the higher frequencies, you can start manifesting, right? So this goes back to as within, so without, as above, so below. When you start feeling powerful, when you start feeling love, when you start feeling gratitude, now it starts coming in. Remember, changing your internal changes your external. That's how that works. That's how that works. Oh, thank you, Darlene. Thank you. You got to change the internal. You just have to. All right, Mr. Ward, what have you been saying over here? I'm not ignoring you, so thank you for sticking with me. Hey, don't say no one can't explain, but say to yourself, why do you think I can't explain and why it makes me feel this way? What is beyond the flash? Yeah, exactly. Like, honestly, Marcia, Yeah, I would invest your money in a better way. I would invest your money in a better way. Yeah. So what do you do now, Ward? You get into gratitude. You get into gratitude. 10 things every day that you're grateful for. 21 days. Flip your energy. Especially if you're someone that's holding on to a lot of trauma and you're like, but Melissa, I don't have time right now to maybe invest in energy healing or invest in any healing, any modality, right? Or, I've been to the doctor and they've done what they can, or whatever it is, right? Gratitude is free. And that's what I did. Because when I was homeless and pretty much jobless, actually I was jobless because that's what brought me a job, right? So I was reading Wishes Fulfilled by Dr. Wayne Dyer. And he talked about doing a gratitude journal. And I thought, I got nothing to lose. I got a paper and I got pen and I got time, right? I'm unemployed. I'm living on my mother's couch. Let's go. And that's what it did. I wasn't even 21 days in. I think I was 14 days in. And, out of the blue, my mother came into the bedroom and was like, hey, your cousin reached out to me and she's got a friend who knows of a job in an office, title clerk in a dealership. I was like, sure. And literally I wasn't going to make more than what I was making on unemployment. But one, the unemployment was going to run out. And two, I needed to feel viable, right? I needed to feel like I could contribute. And I went and I sat and I talked with the general manager of the dealership. And we talked for a good half hour, maybe even a little more. I don't remember, but it was a great conversation. And at the end of it, she was like, I'm going to put you on the sales floor. And I was like, what? And I did. I sold cars for a year. You don't know where things are going to take you. You don't know how spirit is going to show up for you, but it's going to show up when you start to get in touch with who you are inside and start to work that spark of divinity that is within. No one's coming to save you, but you are going to save yourself. And that I know for sure. Yeah, I'm sorry you feel that way, Marcia. There is hope. There absolutely is hope. Honey, you have to find that spark of divinity within yourself where it's not about somebody coming in and fixing things for you, but it's about you starting to heal your way out of that hopelessness and continue to do the work. Whether it's with me or someone else, continue to do the work. Even if it's just going back over programs you already own or going back over material you already have. But keep going. Don't give up. Keep going. Yeah. So that is where emotional trauma doesn't right now. Hopefully we'll change it. Hopefully we'll change it with, a lot of information that's coming out about mental health and the need for mental health and about autoimmune diseases. I mean, there's a lot of changes that are happening and hopefully things will catch up. But right now it is going to be important for you to continue to value yourself, learn how to value yourself, and learn how to get in connection with your own spark of divinity. Because as you do that, as you keep moving forward, one step at a time, reading the books, listening to the podcasts, getting the sessions, going to counseling, whatever it is, you can move that needle in your life out of the fear and into the love. You absolutely can. All right. So that is this week's consciousness conversation. And I am sending you all so much love and so many blessings. And if you want to work with me on a monthly basis, especially if you're someone that feels like you need a lot of support, join my membership community on my website, guidance311.com. Hit the community tab. The community has been very supportive. I've done some really, really great work in there. It's just moving from one platform to the next, but that is where you can have a meeting with me as part of the membership 3 times a month. The first one is a channeled message from my guides about what the themes of the month are, what you can kind of expect that month to bring. The second one is a coaching call where I'm going to do mini readings or answer your questions or tap into your energy to see where it is you're maybe needing some help. And then the third one is a beautiful channeled meditation and a healing, group healing call. So 3 times a month we get together, and then the group that is now a part of the new community is where you can drop your questions. I can go in there and talk about dreams. I can talk about experiences. I can help you understand maybe what you're going through. So that's going to be a big change, where I'm going to be able to not only just drop content, but now interact with you as you have your own specific questions about content or about your own experiences. So the community is really the way in which to work with me if you're someone that feels like you're very stuck or you're on a journey that you really need support with. Whether it's the narc empath abuse journey, whether it's the ego death journey, ascension, wherever you are, I am willing to meet you and help you move forward. So, oh, thank you. Yes, Darlene. Yes, there's always something to be grateful for, even if the small things, honey, are the things that got me off that couch. It was this because trust me, I had nothing to be grateful for. Very little to be grateful for. But man, if the sun was shining and I had a good walk, I was grateful. If everybody got, out of my daughter got off to school in a good mood, I was grateful. Whatever the little wins were each day, I took them. So sometimes we have to start small, and then we can move into the big things. So yes, I love that. Thank you for putting that in there. Yes, start small. But if you are someone that needs support, if you are someone that really is in a situation where you need, some dedicated, constant support. And what's beautiful about the group is not only can I go in there, but then you can meet people and get support from people who are also going through what you're going through or have been where you've been and kind of help you with how they moved that needle, right? So I'm looking forward to it. That's all I can say. The group is the whole community between the content, the meetings, and then the support. It's going to be good. I'm so excited. So I hope you will look into it if it's something you are being called to. All right, guys. Have a beautiful rest of your Thursday, and we'll see you next week for the next consciousness conversation. Don't forget, there's a playlist if you need more help.